It'd be easy to think that the only form of communication we actually needed to care about as lawyers is going to be actually pushing our message out to other people. But the truth is that communication is a two-way street. You probably know this already. I don't need to harp on about the fact that listening or taking in and output are two sides of the same coin. But as lawyers, we can get a little bit obsessed with the process of getting the message out, and as a result can skip some fairly fundamental, important steps when it comes to actually listening. Now, it might be listening to the court, it might be listening to our clients, it might be listening, and I'm air bracketing that for a reason, to our documents. Whatever it is that intake of information that we need to ensure we do properly, because if we don't do that part properly, we can easily misunderstand what it is we're supposed to be doing, what it is we're supposed to be answering, and how it is that we're supposed to be addressing the question or the issue that has arisen. I've seen in court any number of times sitting in the back of the courtroom watching a junior lawyer flounder with questions from the bench, from the judge, because they're not listening to what the question actually is. Even within the last couple of weeks I've seen it. Someone was being asked questions and they just weren't answering what they were being asked. They kept changing into other things, saying other things and not addressing the judge's question, and ultimately they were sent away to fix a number of issues. And it may be that was going to happen anyway, but it was almost embarrassing to watch to some extent. It's similarly embarrassing to watch someone engage with a new client or an existing client and leap in with their opinion, trying to fix the problem before they've fully explored what the problem is. Listening to what your client is actually saying and what they actually care about is a huge component of effective client care as a lawyer. You cannot hope to just brutally force your legal opinion and recommendation on someone if you haven't taken the time to listen to what they actually care about. And that's going to take a number of different formats. Of course, you need to listen to their words, and you need to give them an opportunity to actually speak with you. You need to let them talk, okay? That might be difficult for you. It certainly was difficult for me in the past, and I got pulled up for it a few times, and I'm pulling you up on it now in advance, hopefully, if you're doing it too many times. Listen to your client. Let them tell you their story. Let them highlight the things that matter to them. By all means, take notes, but listen to what they're saying. Also listen to what they're not saying. The questions they're not asking, the things they're not concerned with, and then you need to figure out, well, is that because they just don't appreciate that that's an issue, or is it because it's actually not an issue? And of course, the easiest way to flesh that out is to ask. Ask questions. It's part of the listening process. Check that you've understood what they care about. Don't be afraid to repeat things back to them, because this is how we ensure that we've actually taken in the right information. But beyond words, don't forget about the non-verbals, okay? How your client is sitting, do they look stressed, do they look worried? If there are two people in the room, how are they interacting together? Is one person constantly taking over? Is the other person being heard? Is that something you need to care about? Is that something you need to address? Is one person driving the agenda whereas it really needs to be the other person? How are they interacting? How are they interacting with you? Are they comfortable with you? Are they honest with you? Are they withholding from you? Are they afraid that anything they say might be disclosed to third parties or might incriminate them in their case or might force you to do something other than what they want to do? What is the vibe you get from them? I know that is a wishy-washy word, kind of made famous in The Castle, that wonderful movie, but it is a big part of nonverbal communication. What is the sense you get from them about how they feel about you, how they're feeling about their legal matter, and how they're feeling about the things you're saying? This is how you can start to modulate your form of communication to strike the right tone, to get the right balance, to deliver answers to the right questions, and to actually ensure that you're addressing what it is your client is going to find valuable and useful for their legal needs. If you're not prepared to listen and ask questions, you're really working in the dark, and you're making assumptions. And that can be a very bad idea. If in doubt, ask questions, don't make assumptions. This is the basics of the listening process, and mostly what I wanted to impart to you in this short session is the importance of listening and of taking in the right information. Often, simply sitting and letting your client speak is by far the best way to get out all of the information that you need, and any amount of information that you might never have thought to ask about. Listen and let them talk. Ask questions, engage with them, and ensure that they have an opportunity to tell you their story. This is how you can develop relationships with clients, build rapport, build trust before you make assumptions about what kind of issues you need to be addressing or what kind of advice you need to be giving. So, your homework for today. Next time you're having a conversation with someone, when you feel that you're about to leap in with an opinion, a recommendation, an expression, and don't make this just clients, practice this with family and friends in conversations, just listen. See what they would say without you diverting the conversation in the direction that you might want to take it. You might be surprised. You might learn something new, but ultimately, practice paying attention. What information did you get that you wouldn't have? How were they sitting? Were their arms folded? Were they open? Were they schlumped? Were they depressed? Were they happy? Were they enigmatic? Were they relaxed? What kind of information can you get by just paying attention to what the person on the other side of the conversation is trying to get at?